Here are 25 Amish gardening hacks that are 100% organic and completely free. Simple techniques passed down through generations that work with nature, not against it. Let's get right into it. 1. Crushed eggshells for soil calcium. The Amish waste nothing, especially when it comes to eggs. After breakfast, Grandma would rinse out the shells, dry them on a towel, and later bake them in the oven at a low temp to kill bacteria. Once cooled, she'd crush them into a fine powder with a rolling pin, or even blend them. Sprinkled into garden beds, eggshells slowly release calcium, which is essential for healthy cell development in plants. Tomatoes, peppers, and squash thrive with this simple boost. Plus, the sharp edges naturally deter soft-bodied pests like slugs and snails. It's free fertilizer and pest control in one. Second, planting by the moon phases. The Amish believe gardening is not just about soil, it's about timing. They follow the lunar calendar to know when to plant. Crops that grow above ground, like lettuce and corn, are planted during the waxing moon when moisture is pulled toward the surface. Root crops like carrots and beets are planted during the waning moon when gravity pulls moisture deeper. This practice is centuries old and helps ensure better germination and yield by aligning with nature's rhythms. No app needed. Just look up. 3. Wood ash as a natural fertilizer. After a night of burning firewood for heat, Amish gardeners gather the cooled ash, not for disposal, but for their gardens. Wood ash contains potassium and trace minerals that many plants love, especially those that prefer alkaline conditions like cabbage, garlic, and peas. Grandpa would sprinkle ash over the beds, mixing it lightly into the soil before planting. It improves fertility, repels certain pests like aphids, and even helps melt snow around early seedlings in the spring. 4. DIY compost pile with no tools. No plastic bins or fancy tumblers, just a pile, patience, and the right balance. The Amish layer food scraps like vegetable peels and eggshells with brown materials like straw, leaves, and sawdust. No turning machine required, just a garden fork every few weeks. By season's end, they have dark, crumbly compost that smells like fresh earth. They use it for everything: seed starting mix, raised beds, or enriching weak soil. It's all natural, free, and completely closed loop. 5. Saving seeds from heirloom plants. Every Amish family has its own tomato or corn variety, passed down like an heirloom. Grandpa knew that the best plants were the ones worth saving. At the end of harvest, he'd let a few fruits over-ripen, then scoop out the seeds, wash them clean, and dry them on paper towels for a week. Once dry, they'd go into labeled paper envelopes stored in a cool cupboard. Saving seeds not only saves money, it ensures crop consistency, flavor, and disease resistance year after year. 6. Grass clipping mulch. Instead of bagging grass clippings, the Amish use them to lock in soil moisture. After mowing, Grandma would spread the clippings in a thin layer around her vegetable plants. This mulch cools the soil, reduces watering needs, and blocks out weeds. As it decomposes, it feeds the soil with nitrogen. The key is to apply a shallow layer to avoid matting. By the time fall comes, the mulch has melted into the soil, leaving it richer than before. 7. Companion planting to deter pests. The Amish never reached for sprays. Instead, they planted strategically. Basil grows beside tomatoes to repel hornworms. Marigolds border every bed to keep away nematodes. Dill attracts pollinators and beneficial wasps. Grandpa said every plant had a partner, and every pest had a plant that scared it off. Companion planting is nature's defense system, and it makes gardens healthier without chemicals. It's not just practical, it's beautiful too. 8. Homemade row markers with twigs and twine. For straight planting lines, Amish gardeners gather fallen twigs, carve them into stakes, and tie twine between them. Each row gets a label written in pencil on scrap wood, or even reused tin. No plastic, no landfill, just repurposed materials that work year after year. Plus, it gives the garden a rustic, intentional look that feels more like a craft than a chore. 9. Vinegar weed killer. Amish families don't use herbicides. To kill weeds between pavers or in gravel paths, they rely on a splash of white vinegar, straight from the pantry. Sprayed during sunny midday hours, vinegar draws moisture out of the plant, killing it from the leaves down. It's especially effective on young weeds, and when mixed with a bit of salt and dish soap, the results are even stronger. Cheap, quick, and won't poison your soil. 10th. Rainwater collection with barrels. Gutters aren't just for directing rain, they're for collecting it. Amish homesteads often set up barrels beneath roof lines to catch clean rainwater. This water is chlorine-free, pH-balanced, and perfect for delicate seedlings or established gardens. Some even add a mesh screen over the barrel to keep mosquitoes and leaves out. It's a free resource that nature gives us, and the Amish make sure to use every drop. 11th. Cold frames made from old windows. Before plastic greenhouses became popular, Amish gardeners made cold frames from old window panes and scrap wood. These mini greenhouses extend the growing season in early spring and late fall. To build one, simply create a wooden frame that slants toward the sun and hinge an old window on top. The glass traps sunlight and warmth, letting you grow lettuce, spinach, and radishes, even in cooler months. It's a smart way to give seedlings a head start or keep crops growing after frost hits without spending a dime. 12th, coffee grounds for acid-loving plants. Every morning's coffee became plant food. Used coffee grounds were never tossed. They were dried and sprinkled under hydrangeas, blueberries, and azaleas. These grounds gently lower the pH of the soil while adding nitrogen, potassium, and magnesium. For best results, spread them thinly and water them in. The Amish even added coffee grounds to compost piles to heat them up and speed decomposition. Bonus, they also repel snails and ants. 13. Garlic and cayenne insect spray. To protect crops from aphids, beetles, and leaf-chewing bugs, Amish gardeners whip up a natural spray from garlic, cayenne pepper, and water. Simply blend a whole head of garlic with a teaspoon of cayenne in 2 cups of water. Let it steep overnight, strain it into a spray bottle, and mist plants in the early morning. The strong scent and spicy heat drive away pests without harming beneficial insects like bees or butterflies. No chemicals, just a fiery homemade solution. 14. Twig trellises for climbing plants. Rather than buying tomato cages or bamboo poles, the Amish build trellises using branches from nearby trees. Grandpa would gather sturdy sticks, strip the leaves, and tie them together in an A-frame or teepee shape with twine. Beans, peas, cucumbers, and even squash climb naturally, maximizing vertical space. These trellises blend beautifully into the garden and biodegrade when the season ends, adding organic matter back into the soil. 15. Mounded soil beds for better drainage. The Amish use mounded soil beds, raised areas shaped like small hills, for crops that need warmth and well-drained soil. Cucumbers, melons, and squash love these mounds. The elevation keeps roots from sitting in water and allows the soil to warm up faster in spring. Mounds also improve airflow around plants, reducing the chance of mold and disease. It's a classic method that improves root development with no extra materials. 16. Beer traps for slugs. Slugs can destroy lettuce, cabbage, and other tender plants overnight. Instead of poison, Amish families set out shallow lids or tuna cans filled with beer. Slugs are drawn to the yeast scent, crawl in, and drown. The trap is hidden at soil level and replaced every few days. It's non-toxic and incredibly effective, especially during rainy seasons when slugs are at their worst. 17th. Manure tea for nutrient boosts. Manure tea is like compost tea, but made from aged animal waste. Amish gardeners collect well-composted manure from cows, horses, or chickens, place it in a burlap sack, and soak it in a 5-gallon bucket of water for a few days. The resulting brown liquid is poured around the base of plants, not on the leaves, to deliver a powerful dose of nutrients. It boosts plant health during key growth phases and is especially helpful for heavy feeders like corn and tomatoes. 18. Vertical growing for small spaces. When garden space is tight, the Amish grow upward, using fence panels, ladders, or homemade wooden racks. They train vining crops like pole beans, cucumbers, and even pumpkins to climb. This method not only saves ground space, but it also increases airflow and sun exposure, reducing the risk of fungal diseases. It also makes harvesting easier, since fruits hang where you can see them instead of hiding under foliage. 19. Soap or hair to deter deer. Deer can wipe out an entire bed of beans or strawberries overnight. The Amish keep them away with the strong scent of soap or human hair. Bars of old soap are hung from stakes around the perimeter. Bags of hair clippings from home haircuts are tied in mesh and hung near fruit trees. Deer find the unfamiliar smell threatening and avoid the area. It's a safe, simple, and scent-based defense that works without fencing. 20. Corn cobs as garden markers. Once corn season is over, the cobs aren't tossed. They're dried and reused as markers in the garden. Amish children would help label rows by carving simple signs or symbols into the cob and placing it at the head of each row. It's a sustainable and clever way to label beds without plastic or waste. Over time, the cob breaks down and returns nutrients to the soil. 21. Pour boiled weed water on weeds. After boiling unwanted plants or weeds pulled from the garden, the hot water is reused. Rather than pouring it down the drain, it's poured directly over stubborn weeds along paths or driveways. The high temperature cooks the roots on contact, killing the plant without chemicals. Amish families like this method because it saves water and repurposes heat from cooking. 22nd. Rotating crops to maintain soil health. The Amish follow a 4-year rotation system: legumes 1 year, followed by leafy greens, then fruiting plants, then root crops. This method prevents soil depletion and reduces pest cycles. Beans fix nitrogen for the next year's crop. Moving crops also discourages soil-borne diseases from settling in. It's an ancient system that keeps gardens fertile without needing synthetic fertilizers. 23rd. Shards of clay pots for drainage. Instead of tossing broken pots, The Amish break them into smaller chunks and use them at the bottom of planting containers. These pieces prevent soil from clogging the drainage holes, keeping roots healthy and rot-free. The clay also helps retain a bit of moisture in drier weather. It's a classic reuse and recycle solution straight from Grandma's potting shed. 24. Handwritten garden journals. Every season, Amish families jot down what was planted, when it sprouted, how much it yielded, and what pests or weather issues occurred. These handwritten notes, kept in worn notebooks or stitched together paper scraps, serve as living guides. Over years, they reveal patterns that help adjust timing, seed choices, and pest management, far more accurate than guessing. It's slow, simple record keeping with powerful long-term benefits. 25th, let nature signal when to plant. Instead of checking calendars or frost dates, the Amish look for signs in nature. When the oak leaves are the size of a mouse's ear, it's time to plant corn. When dandelions bloom, potatoes go in the ground. This observational gardening keeps them in sync with their microclimate and ensures that crops aren't rushed into soil that's too cold or too wet. It's not guesswork, it's wisdom passed down from watching the land. If these timeless Amish gardening tricks gave you a few ideas, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more no-nonsense, old-fashioned ways to make your home and garden thrive without spending a dime. Thanks for watching.